You know, when I was talking to many of you today, I hear beautiful comments like, I go for every possibility, I go for every opportunity. There's so many panels that I have been in, I've networked, and I know a lot of you are staying up very late, right? And you're seeing things at midnight, and you may have slept some this morning, but I'm glad you made this reception part of your day. I am really, really proud of our students and our alumni, our faculty. You're going to be hearing from the faculty very soon on a panel about bridges to industry. It'll be really, really wonderful to hear our terrific faculty. On a personal note, I don't embarrass my cousins, but Dr. Gabriel Horn and Ferté Ahmad are both here today. Welcome to UNLV Film, our film reception. We're so happy that you're, and they're also artists and fantastic, unbelievable humans, and so we're very happy you're here. I wanted to say that yesterday a number of us saw Come See Me in the Good Light. Beautiful, beautiful film. And our very own Berenice Chavez is here, who edited the entire film. Berenice, where are you? Yeah. Oh, well, she just left, but she was here, and we got to meet her. And I know this is not the first time that we've had either students or alumni who had succeeded in having shorts or features in this festival and had important roles in making these films come to life. I feel that those of us who've been immersed in film the last few days have affirmed that storytelling through film can change society. It's what society needs. It's part of our lifeblood, the idea of telling stories to each other. So it makes me so proud that you are all so invested and serious about this work. We are really, really excited about your futures and your present, what you're doing now. I am really also delighted to introduce you to Dr. Heather Addison, who is the wonderful leader of our Department of Film.
Well, hello there, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all here today. And when you see behind me like panel, don't get too worried. We're going to keep this short in the spirit of Sundance Q&A. But hopefully we're going to have your attention for a little bit of time. Some of you, I think almost all of you who are here today, know that this reception and the trip to Sundance every year were very special for us as a unit and led for 25 years by Professor Francisco Menendez, who died suddenly last year at the end of February. So I'd like to begin just by saying how grateful we are to him and to what he built in terms of our presence at Sundance every year. And his wife is here and is going to come up and just share a brief memory. So I'd like to invite Valeria Menendez. Where are you, Valeria? Thank you so much for being with us, Valeria.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you. I was supposed to be at work today, and I was like, I'm not coming to Sundance this year. And last night, I suddenly had a feeling that I had to do something, and I called off work, I bought plane ticket, I came this morning, I'm flying back last night, because this is what Francisco would do. He would just feel what, always what the brain is telling you, but what you feel that it's right. So it's right to be here. And thank you all for being here. I wanted to share a memory from last year's Sundance when they cut a lot of the venues, and so it was basically almost impossible to buy a ticket for a movie. So Francisco got this online pass, and suddenly I'm coming back in the hotel room and I'm seeing the furniture moved all the way to the sofa, and a huge TV dragged from somewhere, I don't know from where, so we can see movies at night when there's no tickets for the movies. And he would do everything possible to see a movie and to make a movie. So what I wanted to tell you today is to feel this inner thing inside you and just follow it as he would do. Move furniture or the whole world if you need to watch a movie and to make a movie. Thank you very much.
Not everyone has a drink in their hand, but let's just take a moment for a toast to Francisco, who had the world's biggest FOMO, fear of missing out. So Francisco, you are with us today. Here's to you, Francisco. If you don't have a drink in your hand, just hold up your hand and clink if you can. We're thinking of you, Francisco, and we love you. And now to our esteemed panel. So each professor is just going to speak very briefly, but I think your life will be transformed when you hear what they have to say. So I'd like to invite them up. And that there is a name that we didn't quite get on here, so apologies to that. So that professor, I'll invite him up first. Professor Brock, Norman Brock, could you come up to the, whatever this is, the stage, please? And then Professor May Long, Professor Brett Levner, and Professor Adam Paul. The seating order doesn't matter, except I feel like I can be in the middle. Oh, Brett did not want to sit next to me, so that's good. Okay, so we are professors, we're at school, but we're always thinking about how can we help our students have a bridge to industry. So we're going to focus on that a little bit today, and I'm going to go to each professor, and actually, so since it's #awkward that Professor Brock's name is not on the JPEG up there, everyone, I'm going to go to him first. And we're so lucky to have him. He's an incredibly accomplished screenwriter, has worked a lot in Europe, in the UK, so lived there for decades, and now is back in the States, everyone, and mentoring our students. So I was going to start with you, Professor Brock. If you want to say a few words about the ways in which you bring students into your industry projects, particularly our graduate students.
Thank you very much. Good morning. So, what do you call this? Bridges to industry?
Bridges to industry.
Bridges to, that's good because when there really is this distinction between being in the industry and being out of the industry. And when you're in, you kind of forget what it's like to be out. And when you're out, all you want to do is to get in. And what's difficult is, when I ask my students, and I'm new to this teaching malarkey, but when you ask them, malarkey, hullabaloo, who wants to be a screenwriter? Everyone raises their hand, we all want to be screenwriters. And what's difficult is that there is no direct path. There's no, okay, well, this is what you have to do. It's not like being a neurosurgeon where you work hard and you be intelligent and in 8 or 12 years or whatever it is, you will be a neurosurgeon. The same doesn't apply to being a screenwriter or being a director or anything. There is talent, there is hard work, and then there is chance. There is being in the right place at the right time and who you know. It's as simple as that. I wouldn't have the career that I've had unless that happened to me. Unless I had met people along the way who did things for me, who invited me in. And so it's really very simple. What I try to do, and I think what I can do is, I work in the industry now. I'm not retired. My best work is ahead of me and so on. So one thing I do is I bring my work in. I think of myself as if I was a physicist and I was running a lab with graduate students, we would be working on my projects. That it'd be all part of this. I try to look at the program like a lab. Here we are. So instead of teaching using, Citizen Kane as an example of how a script works, I like to use my own work because I'm inside of it. And the one thing that I can do is I can say, and this is what I was thinking when I did this, and this is what I'm intending. And some of these projects that I use are actually live. They're being discussed now. They're out there. They're being sold. They're in pre-production. And so I can bring the producers, the development execs in. I can go through various drafts. The notes that I've been given, I can say, these are the notes, this is how I reacted to it. And correspondingly, when I give notes, or when we discuss students' work, you know, the notes that I give are based on what's really happening now. It's not just theory. In fact, I don't think I've ever read a how to write a screenplay book or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's important knowledge, but that's not what I do or what I bring to things. And I think that it's just and through these encounters, there's always the possibility of connections. Week after I'm doing a tele course now, and the week after next, the development producer on this project that I'm doing, which is live, which is out there being sold, is going to zoom into the class, so to go through this thing, and who knows? There's open Q&As. It's a student can make a connection. That's all it takes. It takes one little connection, and to have those kind of relationships, that is what it takes, and possibly also to have the example of someone who's actually doing the thing that you want to do, and who is going to share what that's like. I mean, I have writer's block. I get frustrated, I get pissed off, I can't figure out how to end something sometimes, and that's part of what it takes. How do you address this? And so to share that, and to even, what would you do? To bring that in is to involve people in the process. And, it's that. Those are the bridges, to industries. Maybe one day, if, for example, if the tele thing goes, and there's a writer's room being set up, maybe there's interning positions, maybe someone writes something in class which is, this is really good, I think I know who might be interested in that. I mean, that's the sort of thing that everyone might really want to happen. You can't promise that, and even if I do say, this script is great, you can send it to this person, I can't promise that they'll like it, but these are the kind of conduits. This is what you need. And a lot of people talk about it's who you know as some kind of, that it's unfair, that the industry shouldn't be that way. Maybe it shouldn't, but it is. And we're human beings, and we want to work with people we know. We want to work with people we like. If you're going to spend 2 years or 3 years making a film, you want to know whether you're going to like the people. So it's providing those opportunities for knowing. So that's what I like to do.
Well said. Thank you, Professor. And so we'll just have each of our professors speak for maybe 4 minutes max each, and then if there are any couple questions at the end, or if you continue to eat, continue to have fun while we're doing this, you don't have to just stand there and listen, although we're very happy that you are listening, everyone, to these words of wisdom. Okay, so this other model that we have are these co-curricular projects. As I understand it, first established by Francisco, but many of our professors have done them, and the model is, again, a bridge to industry. So sometimes we're bringing in an active filmmaker who's going to direct with our students. Sometimes one of our faculty members will direct. So I'd like to go next to Adam Paul to speak briefly about a project we had in the fall, which at the time we were calling Proof of Concept, but now, everyone, it's the Filmmaker Vision Lab. This is new branding for UNLV Film, our Filmmaker Vision Lab. And so Adam Paul had the connection. Maymay was the producer and the assistant director, so we'll hear a little bit about that, and then we'll segue to a feature project that Professor Levner led, but actually Maymay was also involved in that. So Professor Paul, would you like to start? How did you have the idea for this model with Rod Blackhurst, and what were you looking to achieve?
Well, I'm always looking to get my name out there ahead of everybody else in the department. I'm going for Adam Paul's Department of Film at UNLV. I think if that's possible, that'd be Adam Paul's School of Cinema. Yeah, that'll work out great. No, I had a long career, and I've met a lot of people. I guess I still have a career. So Brock my best work is ahead of me as well. Thank you, Brock, for reminding me of that. Rod Blackhurst, who's an Emmy-nominated director and had a film in theaters last spring called Blood for Dust with Kit Harington and Scoot McNairy, had reached out because he'd screened Blood for Dust with us last year and then did a Zoom with our students and to talk about the process, and he really enjoyed that. And he had a hole in his schedule, and he was like, could I come out? Is there a way to make a thing happen? And we settled on a week of time where he could come out, and it was really his idea, do pre-production, shoot, and post in a week with our students using our toys, and we've got some cool toys, and within a certain budget range. And Rod is a director, he's very well represented, he works all the time, he's shooting a documentary now out of New York with the network is MGM. So he's a busy guy, and he's sort of agnostic in terms of genre and types of projects, but he had a horror film through his production company that he was really trying to sell, and he said, I think a proof of concept would be the way to go. It'd be 2-3 minutes long, and we could do it in a week very easily, single location. Doesn't require a lot. Can you provide the crew and talent, hopefully? And the answer was immediately, of course, like we brought Mei in right away. And this turned into a thing where within that week's time, so many of our students got to really get their hands on a working set with a professional director. And we shot it over 2 days, which any other production would not have done. It was a day-long production, but we wanted to stretch it out so we could slow things down, explain to our students what was going on, and make sure they felt like they understood, but also that they were an integral part to what we were doing. And so the result is really terrific. It's a film called A Very Lovely Girl, and we're happy about it. And you can reach out to me if you haven't seen it yet. I'll send you a link. We'll find a way to make. You can put it on the website. Rod is great about all that stuff. But I don't want to take up more time because Mei had such an important role to play in the whole thing, particularly for our students who are working on the crew, and within all the constraints of time and budget, and then a week of pre-shooting and post. It's not my newsletter, the department has a newsletter, and if you haven't signed up for it, you need to. Yeah, the Adam Paul School of Cinema. Yes, so we're sending out a newsletter twice a semester, and we did link to it. You're right, it's on Vimeo. But if you're not on that newsletter, we should have set up a QR code and all the things. We're all tired. But Mei, why don't you talk a little bit more about what it took to make it happen?
I will intercept the microphone just to say that one important role that Professor Paul, in addition to originating the entire project, had was he played the serial killer in A Very Lovely Girl. Oh God, I'm so sorry, everyone. But what I found extraordinary, like observing as the chair, is that you were able to bring this in a week. I know there was so much pre-planning that happened, but by the end of that week, we were able to screen a film with sound design, with the students, and have an extraordinary learning opportunity for them. So I wanted to ask you, Mei, because you were involved in it during every stage, and for my impact, it was truly extraordinary how it wrapped up, but what were you looking for, and from your perspective, what was the impact on the students of this project?
I mean, the project integrated so many students from so many different classes, which was, I think, one of the really amazing things, because our department is so collaborative, but as you're moving through production classes, they may feel a little bit like grouped together, depending on what production classes you have. But this project like brought everybody together, and that's one of the biggest impacts, is being able to make sure that the students are able to work with each other and find their teams and find their collaborators and find the people within the department that share their vision or share their passion for maybe particular subject matters, but it's almost just introducing everybody. And it's like what we're doing today, where it's like, you know, let's find what common ground and what everybody's doing, and you know, whether or not we work well together and all that stuff. And I think that was a really big impact. But not just that, also beyond the technical is just what it's like to work on a set, because even if you are a student now, you may go and PA somewhere as you're still being a student, or when you graduate, you're going to go PA or work on a set. And knowing what that is like is, I think, really valuable for when you're going out into the industry, because that's a bridge. We're bridging that to the industry in which you know what a set is like, what it feels like, how it operates, who is who, like those kind of processes. And it's not, procedure sounds so boring, but it's more like just the cadence, the feel, the organism breathing in and out that is a production, that kind of thing that's really valuable. It's the bridge to the industry.
And one of the wonderful things in that bridge is that Rod Blackhurst was able to stay with us for that screening, and the conversation that students had with him about so many nuanced aspects, not only of the production process, but then the final product, to me was very, very helpful. And I know you had told me that you wanted it to be kind of immediate, so that they had just done the work and then they got to see almost the final version of it and kind of respond to it with the director they've been working with for that week. Now I'd like to move to you, Professor Levner. Oh, and I should say that Professor Long, some of you may know Warren Cobb. This is now Warren Cobb. Mei Long is our interim director of production operations, so she has a very important role in the department in managing all aspects of production. So I just want to thank you so much for that, Professor Long. And Professor Paul is our student experience and outreach coordinator, and Professor Brett also has a title, which is Associate Chair of the department, so we're always working together. And Professor Brock, we're going to get you an extra special title too, in addition to being a professor. So, Professor Levner, I just wanted to focus on your most recent co-curricular project, Riot and Bloom, which I know has been a several years process, and I believe you're going to have a final version of it being premiered this semester. But the logistical complexities, I know you were actually the producer on that film, Mei, but I'm going to go to you to talk about it, Brett. So it's just such a big thing to take on. So how do you approach a feature-length co-curricular project, and what do you think are the most important things to focus on?
Yes, so at UNLV Film, amongst our other kind of programs and opportunities we have this co-curricular project, which has been going on for over a decade. I guess the first one was Stealing Las Vegas with Professor Menendez. Well, it was Primo. Okay, that was directed by Professor Menendez, and then it was Stealing Las Vegas, which actually was produced by Roger Corman, which is really pretty exciting. And then Professor Schmoller did Two Little Monsters, which was bought by Lifetime Television, produced by Mei Luong. And then I directed the track, and Mei produced the track back in, this is now over 7 years ago, which was is on Amazon Prime. And right now, so this is the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth. 1, 2. This is the fifth co-curricular project, I guess, we're about to finish. It's called Ride and Bloom, directed by me, produced by Mei Luong, and written by Professor Rudy Bormond. It was a 3-semester course, pre-production, production, and post, in which the students participated in all 3 phases of production. It has been a 2-year process, and it will be completed in March. The sound design will be completed in March, and we'll be having a premiere later in the semester. But the cool thing, I think, about this opportunity was that our students get hands-on experience on a feature film, independent feature film, allowing them to kind of like, they're mentored by faculty and professional alums who are working professionally, kind of like jump forward a little bit. Instead of having to kind of just intern or PA on a feature film, they actually are working in the art department, working in the camera department, being in the production department, sound department, so forth and so on, allowing themselves to maintain or to access these kind of credits that will then allow them to enter the industry with a little bit of a jump forward, which is what we hope to instill in them. And it's just an exciting opportunity. We did it pretty low budget. This one is a kind of a romantic comedy. The last one was a pretty more of a dramatic film. We had a small budget, And we had maybe we actually shot on the weekends. I don't know if we had an 18-day shoot. How many shoot days did we have? I don't remember.
It was
21 days. And we did not use SAG actors. We used all local actors and shot locally throughout Las Vegas. And some of you worked on the project who are here in this room. And we'll get to celebrate it and watch it. And then hopefully send it to festivals. And then hopefully, hopefully get it streaming somewhere. But I just think that's a unique thing about our program in terms of, we have the Brendan Award, we have, this, no, what the hell is it called? What's your thing called? There's you guys changed the name, I got confused. Okay, Filmmaker Vision Lab, thank you. We have these co-curricular projects. It's confusing. You confused me on the spot. And we just have a lot of cool opportunities for our students to learn and also for our alums and our faculty to collaborate all together and do art and make projects, because I realize that in the end, you can't kind of move forward unless you're making something. And if something becomes too precious and you're just not making something and learning and through that process of collaboration, you get stuck. So I think that's what I think is good for all of us, just to be making things together, learning from one another, and making the thing we love most, which is film, and that's why we're here.
Okay. So that might be a good moment at which to wrap up, since each of us has had a chance to speak. So I want to thank from the bottom of our hearts the Brendan Mann Foundation, Johnny Brendan, who has funded our students' trip to Sundance for many years. So thank you, Johnny Brendan. And to say from the bottom of our hearts, what we appreciate is figuring out how we can make our dreams come true together. UNLV Film, I believe sometimes it can sound like a cliche, but before it was a cliche, we were saying it and we really mean it. The UNLV Film family, to me, is very real. And Francisco, we miss you, and we're so happy to be with all of you here today. You showed up here today, you're part of UNLV Film, so UNLV Film forever. Thank you very much, everyone. Please keep eating and drinking and talking now.